He's coming. He's coming. He's on his way. Light, cameras, action!
Well done. Well done. How many of you remember from your high school or college poli-sci class that the framers of the Constitution built in a process whereby the popular vote was in the Electoral College? How many of you remember that? Nobody. I thought at least somebody would remember that. Last time I spoke with you, I talked to you about the Electoral College. And I quoted the U.S. National Archives, which basically said the Electoral College is a constitutional process for electing the President and the Vice President of the United States. And I went through all of that with you. I also teased you a little bit and said that if you wanted to know why we are using that process today, you'd have to see my next speech. And here is my next speech. So why do we use the Electoral College today? Because it works. Sorry. Think about it. Ever since George Washington was elected, we have used the Electoral College to not vote in our presidents. Every one of them. By the way, George Washington had 69 electoral votes, unanimous electoral votes from the Electoral College. And so there is this process that's been in play. Additionally, the transfer of power has always been peaceful. Right? One party to another goes, we haven't had problems. This is kind of an amazing thing in the world when you really think about it. Now, I can more than hear some of you thinking, no, it's not working. Skip. And you would say it's not working because it's not the popular vote. And I would say, you're right. It isn't the popular vote. It wasn't designed that way. Okay? So, how did they design the Electoral College? Well, I'm going to quote first from U.S. history some of the thinking that went into the process. The framers, wanted to, and I left my PowerPoint up there.
I didn't say the other one.
I left my PP up there. There's my PowerPoint. So it's a congressional process. But anyway, so every president has done that. But one of the UShistory.org said, we wanted to develop a system that balanced order with liberty. I mean, that's kind of poetic. Balanced order with liberty. That's great, but listen to what the U.S. Archives says. The Founding Fathers established it, the Electoral College, in the Constitution as a compromise between the election of the President by the vote of Congress and the election of the President by the popular vote of qualified people. Popular vote. What this was the marriage of two systems. The Founding Fathers were absolutely worried about a popular vote because they studied history. They looked at Greek democracy, they looked at what was going on in Europe at the time, and they didn't want just a popular vote. They wanted something to I'm going to say mitigate, but to keep it from being a one-idea system. And so they married these two systems together. It's really kind of a great process if you think about it. They put that together. Now, they also put a process in play whereby it kept up with the population. Remember how the Electoral College worked. There's one elector per every representative, both two for Congress and one for each representative. In California, there's 53, so with the two we have 55 total electors, right? That has gone with the population along the way until 1929. In 1929, by their own website, the U.S. House of Representatives made a law to cap the amount of representatives that were in the House. When they capped the amount of representatives, they didn't account for the continued growth of the country. The framers put this together so it accounted for both the popular vote, right, and the states' vote, the states' rights. Because states actually have entities, right? I mean, I think California's got whatever, tourism, agriculture, and these are all things that are important. So, that said, they thought about all of that and they put that together. Anyway, so the House of Representatives summarily got rid of it by putting a cap on the number of representatives. So, that has been a bone of contention ever since. And it comes up every 10 years when the census comes up, because that's when we count the people, right? The census comes in, population goes up, representation goes up. Up, up, up. It's supposed to. Well, now it's gone like this, and the population's done this, right? And so, we've got a situation where we're not being represented. We don't feel represented, right? So, as late as 2010, there was a rule they called the Wyoming rule. Pew Research has put that out. But basically, the Wyoming rule says the smallest state with the smallest number of representatives will be what we use as the body for each state. So, if we use it, that's easier for me to just show you. In Wyoming today, there's 73,000 people. One representative. That means that there's 573,000 people per electoral. Okay? That, if we were to equate that to California, today we have 55. If we were using that 573 per elector, we'd have 69 electors in the House. So, that's the problem, right? That's why you're not feeling represented, because the House of Representatives took away your representation by not allowing it to grow. What can we do about it? Right? We need to do so. There's a great process. We know how the Electoral College got here. We know why we're currently using. We know it got usurped by the House of Representatives. What can we do about it? You can call, email, write, Facebook, or tweet your elected officials. You know who they are? Dianne Feinstein. You can get a hold of her right here. Kamala Harris, right here. Now, I didn't want to do all of the House of Representatives, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to call, write, or do something with these people and tell them, I don't want to get rid of the Electoral College. I want you to fix the Electoral College.
Look for questions?
Yeah, sure. Candace, would you hit the button on that for me?
Was the Electoral College also created because of a lack of education of the general population?
I'm not sure I quite understand that. So the founders were definitely concerned about, I mean, right then was the French Revolution, right? I mean, the peasants were storming the castle.